The quiet hum of the air conditioner in my office didn't match the storm of thoughts in my head. I'm Ava, a 28-year-old lawyer. My life now is calm, but my childhood was full of chaos, a past I kept hidden, even from those close to me. The peace was interrupted by my phone ringing. The caller ID showed an unknown number, but something about it felt oddly familiar. I hesitated, then answered. "Hello, this is Ava," I said, keeping my voice professional but wary. "Ava, it's your father," said the voice on the other end, nervous and unsure. My heart sank. I hadn't heard his voice in over 10 years. It used to mean love and safety, but now it reminded me of betrayal and pain. "Why are you calling me?" I asked sharply. "I'm in trouble, Ava, financial trouble. I need your help," he admitted, his voice trembling. Anger flared in me. "You need my help? After all these years?" I snapped. "I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious. I really need you," he pleaded. "You stopped being my father a long time ago. You can't just call me now and expect me to help," I said firmly. There was a long silence, then he said softly, "Ava, please, I'm still your dad." That word, dad, felt so foreign. "You lost that title when you chose her over me," I replied, my voice heavy with anger and hurt. He tried again. "You're my daughter." "You thought I was," I interrupted, "but you made your choice years ago, and now I've made mine." His voice cracked. "I'm sorry, Ava, I just need this one favor." But sorry wasn't enough. "Sorry doesn't change anything. I can't help you," I said, and hung up. Before I turned 10, my childhood was full of happiness. My mom filled our small home with laughter, kindness, and bedtime stories. My dad was loving and playful, always teaching me little things and playing games with me. But everything changed when my mom passed away suddenly. Our joyful home turned quiet and lonely. My dad seemed broken by grief, but that didn't last long. Only a few months later, he brought someone new into our lives, Rosie. I remember the day he introduced her. "Ava, this is Rosie, she's going to be staying with us," he said, sounding detached. Rosie didn't seem warm or kind. Her smile felt fake, and her eyes cold. Something about her made me feel uneasy, like she didn't belong in our home. After she arrived, everything felt different. The house didn't feel like home anymore. Happy memories faded, replaced by tension and discomfort. Rosie's looks and actions toward me felt sharp and unkind, as if I didn't matter. One morning, I noticed my breakfast tasted strange, too salty. "Rosie, did you add too much salt to this?" I asked nervously. She smiled, but it didn't feel genuine. "Oh, did I? Must have been a mistake. Just eat it." "Ava, stop being so picky," she said dismissively. Rosie's behavior grew worse over time. She started ruining my clothes on purpose, pinching me, and twisting my arm when no one was looking. I tried to tell my dad about it. "Dad, Rosie is mean to me. She's ruining my clothes and hurting me," I said, desperate for him to understand. But instead of helping, he dismissed me. "Ava, stop making up stories. Rosie is trying her best. You need to stop causing trouble." His words crushed me. I felt alone in a house that used to feel like home. One day, Grandma came to visit. She noticed how quiet I was and the way I flinched when Rosie was near. "Ava, is everything okay?" she asked gently. I wanted to tell her the truth, but I was scared. "I'm fine, Grandma, just a little tired from school," I lied. Grandma looked at me for a moment, unsure, but she didn't press further. When she left, Rosie smirked at me, her face full of satisfaction. She knew I was too scared to speak up, and she enjoyed having that control. The only place I felt safe was school, but even there, the weight of what was happening at home followed me. One day, my teacher, Mrs. Thompson, noticed the bruises on my arm. "Ava, what happened here?" she asked softly, her eyes full of concern. I quickly pulled my sleeve down and lied. "It's nothing, I just fell." Mrs. Thompson didn't believe me. "If someone is hurting you, Ava, you can tell me. I want to help," she said kindly. Her words made me want to cry, but I couldn't bring myself to tell her. Instead, I forced a smile and said, "I'm fine." Later, Mrs. Thompson decided to call my dad to the school. When he arrived, he was upset. "Why am I here? What's going on?" he asked, his voice stern. Mrs. Thompson tried to explain. "Mr. Carter, I'm concerned about Ava. She has bruises, and I think something might be happening at home." My father turned to me, his expression hard. "Ava, is this true? What is she talking about?" I froze. I wanted to tell him everything, but I knew he wouldn't believe me. Before I could say anything, he interrupted, "Ava, we're leaving, and this better not happen again." As we left the school, I felt smaller than ever, trapped in a situation where no one could, or would, help me. My father's denial and Rosie's cruelty made home feel like a place I might never escape. I stood tall, refusing to let him intimidate me anymore. "Actually, I'm an adult now. Grandma made sure everything was set up so that I wouldn't have to rely on anyone else, not you, and certainly not Rosie." Rosie's face twisted with anger, her voice sharp. "She can't do that. This is your father's family. He has every right to this house." I looked her square in the eye, my voice steady. "Grandma saw through you, Rosie. She knew how you treated me, and she made sure I would never have to depend on either of you again." My father's anger simmered as he tried to regain control. "Ava, think about this. We're family. We should work together." The word family stung, but I kept my composure. Family doesn't turn their back when someone is hurting. Family doesn't ignore abuse. You made your choice years ago, and now I'm making mine. Rosie opened her mouth to argue, but I stopped her with a raised hand. "This conversation is over. Please leave my home." They stood there for a moment, stunned by my newfound strength. Then, with a mixture of anger and defeat, they left, slamming the door behind them. As the door clicked shut, I felt an overwhelming sense of relief. This was my home now, a place of safety and love, just as it had been when Grandma was alive. From that day forward, I vowed to honor her memory by living a life of kindness and strength. Though the scars of my past would always be there, I knew I had the power to shape my own future.